I'm Amanda of Inspiring Inkin. Welcome to my craft room. Today's video is all about this lovely stuff, which is Stampin' Up's embossing paste. This is video 2 of 2, embossing paste masterclass. So if you haven't seen the first video, do go and check that out. There'll be a link in the description underneath if you're on YouTube, or if you're on my blog, there'll be a link there too. You don't need to see video 1 before you see video 2, so if you found me now, you don't have to stop and go elsewhere, because I'll kind of show you the basics now as well. I'm not actually making any projects in these videos, I'm just showing you the techniques so that you can watch them quickly and get on with your crafting. So without further ado, let's get started. So embossing paste is in the annual catalogue, Stampin' Up annual catalogue. If you haven't got one and you're in the UK, send me a quick message, amanda@inspiringinkin.com, and I will send you one in the post. You can buy embossing paste. There are these palette knives and there are these masks as well. Now there are 4 masks. If you've seen video 1, you will know that for some reason my brick embossing mask was missing. Well, it's back, which is good because I need it for this video. There's this one, which is matching the Eastern Palace suite, which is a brilliant set of dies and stamps. We've got clouds and we've got this trellis as well. I recommend that you use a silicone mat as well. And just here, I'm not quite sure whether it's in camera shot, is a tray with hot soapy water or warm soapy water. You've really got to clean up your things really well with the embossing paste. It will set hard. So don't think, oh, I'll clean it all up at the end. That's never going to work. So get a tray. I've just got like a foil baking tray, and I just sling it all in there as I'm going. Okay, so in my first video, I showed you how to use the embossing paste and to use it to make snow and glittery clouds, and also to use it with heat embossing powder. What we're actually going to do in this video is turn this lovely white embossing paste into different colours. So the first card I'm going to show you is this one. And this is using the brick, which is why it was so important I found it, and the different multicoloured effects. So we're going to use my silicone mat, but actually I'm going to use it this time to make the different colours. So I'm putting 3 little blobs of embossing paste, and top tip, always put your lid back on. 3 little blobs of embossing paste, and I'm going to put 1 drop of re-inker with each one. Now the colours for this card, I have got So Saffron, Peekaboo Peach and Calypso Coral. And actually, I think I'm going to need to put a bit more embossing paste on that. So let me just get a little bit more there. Right, okay. Now if you go from light to dark when you're mixing the colours, let me put this better in camera shot. If you go from light to dark when you're mixing the colours, you won't need to keep cleaning your spatula. So all I'm doing is just mashing it together to make colour. So now I've got So Saffron embossing paste, and then this is going to be Peekaboo Peach, which is such a cute name, isn't it? But it's just a really lovely colour. So that's that one, and then there's a few just looking at my silicone mat, it's a bit glittery. Never mind, bit of glitter never hurt anyone. So this one is Calypso Coral, and you can just see, I mean, those colours all look great together. and mix it up. Now, I've mixed it so it's completely blended, but you can mix it kind of so it looks a bit like raspberry ripple ice cream. If you're not from the UK and you haven't come across raspberry ripple ice cream, it's a really good flavour. But basically it's got swirls of colour in it. So if you want to have that kind of effect, that works really well. So you can do that. But I've just mixed them really, really well together. Right, so I just clean up my spatula. So what I'm going to do now is take a piece of white card and get my brick stencil, and I'm going to swipe the different colours through. So I'm just going to take a little bit and put it on, and I'm going to put it on in 2 or 3 different places, and then put the next colour on. And I'm not worried that they're going to hit one another. It's fine, it doesn't matter, because what I want is to get a sort of random pattern. And what will happen as well is bits will mix together, the colours will mix together. So as I'm scraping it, you'll see I'm kind of getting a mottled effect as well anyway. So there we go. So I'm just going to lift that off, and that gives you a really fab effect. Let me just hold it up so you can see that really well. Okay, so I'm a crafter, I don't like wasting things, and I've got some more embossing paste here. So I'm just going to use it up on another piece of card. And actually what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to see if I can actually cover the whole card, and then you'll be able to see that effect, and just scrape it all up. There. I love this brick effect, and it looks great when you heat emboss it as well. It really does look good. So let's just get these last little bits. And as I said, if you can butter a piece of bread, you can use embossing paste. It's so easy. Right, there we go. Get rid of that. Let's just lift that up. Yeah, look at that. Love it. Okay, so you can see, let me just show you the two side by side because you'll be able to see the difference. So this one here has got quite a lot of definition of colour. So you can clearly see the So Saffron and the Peekaboo Peach and the Calypso Coral. This is because it's kind of got mixed a little bit. It's much more blended. There's still some of the colour in there, but it's kind of separate, not separate, it's kind of blended. Okay, right, I am just going to wipe that down a little bit. This is all going to get really, this is the messy techniques, so it's just going to get messier and messier, so don't worry. Okay, so that's technique number 1. So that's actually colouring the embossing paste. Now what you can do is colour the embossing paste when it's dry. So what I'm going to do is I'll just put this down and this one, and I'm just going to show you. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to put embossing paste on this piece of Very Vanilla, and then with the magic of television we're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to show you how you can colour it after that. Okay, so I'm just going to lift that off, pop that in there. Okay, so this is what I've got, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one that's been drying for about an hour, and I'm going to show you how we're going to colour it in a moment to make this card. So what we're actually going to do is use several different ways of colouring it, so you can check all of those out. Okay, so through the magic of television and a little bit of editing, I have got this, and it's dry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back onto my silicone mat, and get the mask and line it up again. Let's just see if it goes that way. Okay. Now, you will never line it up completely. The embossing paste shrinks a little bit when it's drying, so it won't be perfect. But for this type of technique where we're going to be putting water and ink and all sorts of things on it, it doesn't matter too much. But I want to show you how to use the mask as a mask and actually put different colours on it. So we've got 3 inks. I've got Tempting Turquoise, Island Indigo and Garden Green. And the first thing I'm just going to do is I'm just going to dab through here on just selected little bits, just to show you how you can actually colour those little pieces. Now, if you want really precise colour, you can actually use an aqua painter or a Q-tip or a cotton bud and just dab through. I'm going to use some more blue, and I'm just going to do a bit more sort of sponging and mixing a little bit. So I've actually got the Tempting Turquoise and the green there. So let me just lift that off and show you again. So it just gives such a lovely effect. I'm just going to get this slightly darker here on the outside, and you can go over the top of it. It's absolutely fine. It's not sort of damaging. Let's do a bit more green, and I'm actually just putting quite a lot of ink on because of the technique that I'm going to go on further. So there. That is a really good technique all of its own. So just actually colouring the embossing paste at this point. What I like to do is to get a bit more messy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some re-inker. This is Island Indigo with some water. And I've also just got some plain water as well. So what I'm going to do first is put some plain water on, and you'll be able to see that the colours are actually spreading out where the water is. And then I'm going to go over with some of this as well. So you've got the ink that was on there already. I'm just going to let this sit a minute. So the ink that was on here already, that ink is bleeding. And then you've got the ink from this re-inker that is also adding colour as well. And I'm just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. And it will dry. And this is the effect that you will get in the end. That it will dry and some bits will hold the colour and other bits will blend. And it's lovely. And I just really liked this kind of watery effect, and you can kind of see it at the moment, but honestly when it's dried, this is the effect that you're going to get. Okay, so now I've made a really big mess. I'm going to put that one to one side. I'm going to throw that in there. I'm just going to use my tea towel and just dry that off a bit. Okay, so we've had colouring using re-inkers on the silicone mat. We've got colouring using re-inkers and spritzers. Now this card is actually a card that I made for the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Thailand that I went on in July this year, which was absolutely incredible. And all of the demonstrators there, we swapped cards, and this was the card that I made. Now I've used a couple of techniques really that I've shown you already, but I'm just going to concentrate on this little bit here in the centre with the embossing paste. So what I actually did was I took a jar of embossing paste. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take some of this out because I don't need a lot. I'm going to put that in there. Let's see. Yeah. So, put that away. And what I actually did was I dropped embossing paste in, re-inker, not embossing paste, re-inker directly into the tub. So if you are using this for, you know, you've got Christmas cards to make or that sort of thing, put your re-inker in there. If you're using glittery embossing paste, you could actually mix the glitter in. And I didn't do that, and actually, let's do that whilst we're on camera now. So, what I did, hopefully the camera's picking this up, is I mixed it in. Now I used several different colours, but actually what I'm going to do this time is just use the one, but leave it a little bit mottled. And this is a good time to try things out. And what I'm going to do is put a spoonful of glitter in, because if you're going to put glitter in, you may as well put in lots of glitter. And then I'm going to mix it up. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it works. Need more glitter. That is a comment that you hear a lot in my life. More glitter. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, so let me just get this mermaid card out. So you can see there's lots and lots of texture on the mermaid card. And when I did it first, I'll show you how I did it. When I did it first, I got some of the embossing paste, and this is how I made snow in video 1. And I put it on and I kind of mashed it around like this. It took ages. But I knew that this was the effect that I wanted. So I figured out that if I stuck my fingers in it and patted it down, I got the texture that I wanted really, really quickly, or without using the spatula. The downside was my fingers ended up blue, so I ended up having to put some gloves on, because looking like a Smurf wasn't a good plan. But you can see, so if I show you here, you can see the texture is the same. Now I'm hoping that the camera is going to be able to pick this up. The glitter is really subtle in there, because we've actually mixed it in, which is really cool. But what I actually did for this mermaid card is I actually tipped glitter on the top like I do for snow. So I'm going to do that again and just show you. So it's more heavily glittered. And one of the comments or the questions I get quite a lot is about the sequins. I actually tipped the sequins on when it was wet and pressed them in. I tried gluing the sequins and it didn't work. It did work, but it just took a very, very, very long time because, you know, there's maybe 30 sequins on here. So it took a long time and the glue was oozing out and various things. So I worked out it was better just to sprinkle the sequins on, and then I just pressed them down and just seated them into the embossing paste. So there you have it. So that is the end of Embossing Paste Masterclass 2. Let me just do a quick recap of the techniques. So colouring your embossing paste with re-inkers. You can do small quantities, do it on your silicone mat. Try different things, so perhaps mix 2 colours together, make it in a ripple effect or other things, that's really cool. Then we've got colouring tip number 2. This, you can use the masks to ink up with sponge daubers. You can spritz through the masks or spritz the whole thing. And this is still drying. It's really looking cool, very seascapey, very cool. So you can do that. And then the third technique is actually mixing a whole pot of embossing paste and actually putting the colours through and even putting glitter in it. and we're getting some amazing colours like that. So I'll just put those cards there. So should you wish to purchase any of the products that you've seen in the video today, please pop over to my blog, www.inspiringinkin.com. You'll find a shop now button. If you're currently on YouTube, click subscribe, send me a message. Send me a message or leave me a comment. I reply to every single comment that is left, and I really appreciate hearing from you. You'll also find links to all of the products on YouTube as well, but you have to click on the see more bit at the bottom of the video. So I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me today. Goodbye.